With teacher union SADTU and student body COSAS set to challenge the Basic Education Ministry in court, the backlash to the planned national rewrite of leaked matric papers grows. The second largest teachers union, NAPTOSA, believes that the exam rewrite should have been targeted to the schools where evidence was found of pupils having accessed the leaked exam papers. Clinical psychologists, meanwhile, have warned that the department's decision to order a rewrite of 2 exam papers could have a negative psychological impact on matric learners.
Psychologists have warned that rewriting the maths and science exams will put pupils under more stress, anxiety and pressure.
We can understand that writing an exam is already anxiety-provoking. Many students, they struggle, anxiety goes high. Exam stress is a challenge for most, and now they thought that they were done with writing the exams and they have to rewrite these exams. So it's going to be a difficult situation, especially for the learners.
After Friday's shock announcement by Basic Education Minister Angie Motshekga, teacher unions and student bodies immediately rejected this and will be heading to court to challenge the rewrite.
We have instructed our lawyers to prepare the papers so that we are able to ask the court to interdict this decision because we believe the decision is irrational. The learners who are affected are more than 390, and therefore they have not been consulted before the decision was taken.
We were in the meeting with the minister. We heard what Umalusi said, but we are not convinced that you can punish almost 400,000 children because of the indiscretion of 200. You can't do that. That is an overkill.
In a national first, learners across the country will be forced to rewrite the mathematics paper 2 and the physical science paper 2 on the 15th and 17th of this month. Preliminary investigations into the exam paper leak are still not clear as to how widespread the leaks were. It's believed that some 200 learners out of the 391,000 learners could have accessed the leaked exam papers.
We are preparing for court that should sit on Tuesday, and then as much as the National Executive Committee is preparing for us to go to court, we are also preparing each and every member of our organization to be prepared for this particular call. Starting on the day of the court, will be there in numbers supporting the National Executive Committee.
The Basic Education Department says they're ready to defend their decision in court.
Nobody knows right now how far the paper has gone. As a result of that, you cannot say you will localize it. You localize it where? Because you don't know. Even the Hawks have said it will take time for a determination to be made as to where it has been and where it has not been, who received it and who didn't receive it. Until then, we'll remain in the dark in terms of the extent of the spread of the leaked question paper.
An employee of a Johannesburg-based company contracted to the department to print matric exam papers has since been arrested. Nozindonbi Mia, SABC News, Johannesburg.
All right, to discuss, we're now joined by Teachers Union SADTU spokesperson Nomusa Cembi and NAPTOSA President Nkosiphendule Ntantala. Thank you both for being with me. Let me start with you, Nomusa Cembi, please. Where is the legal case? When could this play out in court?
We are going to be applying for an urgent court interdict tomorrow at the High Court in Pretoria.
All right, and then Mr. Ntantala, you're very passionate and you're saying that this is about the students, it's all very unfair. Why are you being an advocate for the learners as a teachers union?
Yeah, because thank you very much and good evening to yourself and the viewers. At first, the learners are our clients, and without the learners, you don't have schools, you don't have teachers. And everything that we do, we should do in the best interests of the learners. So that's basically the thing. And we feel that it is very much unfair to have a huge number of learners being caused to rewrite the entire examination when at the present moment indications are that it may only be 1% of the entire population of the matriculants that have had access to the leaked question papers.
But the fact is, and you've just said it there, we don't know.
Yes, we do not know. But what we have sponsored as a suggestion was to say there are other possibilities that can be explored to resolve and deal with that particular matter. Remember, in the past, we have had irregularities regarding examinations, and we had adopted a different approach.
Yes, carry on.
Yes.
Okay, so you're just saying that the department could do things differently. How do you deal with a leak of two very important papers? Let me move to you, Ms. Cembi, when we don't know how widespread that leak is.
We don't believe, we know that the investigations are not yet complete, but what we have so far indicates that there is quite a minute number of learners who have had access to the paper. And we feel that the department has not explored or exhausted all the other avenues that are there when such incidents happen.
Yeah.
For instance, when there are irregularities, you'll find that during the marking process, the markers would be in a position to ascertain whether, there's been copying or not. We have not, the marking hasn't started. That avenue has not been explored. So we feel it is premature for the department to call for a rewrite when all the other avenues have not been explored.
But Ms. Cembi, if the welfare of the learners is the matter here, wouldn't it be in their interest to rather write quickly while the work is still fresh in their minds? I think the department has put down the 15th and 17th of this month. I stand to be corrected, but that's not too far. If the marking goes ahead and then only in January or so we find out that there's been a widespread leak, then they have to start studying all over again.
It is not easy to go back and just write it. Writing, especially in this year where we had when we had COVID-19 and all that, writing takes a toll on the learners. And it would take a learner with a strong resilience to go back and redo it again, knowing very well that they were not responsible for this. So, even psychologists do say that it doesn't mean that when you go back to write, you will necessarily do better, because we know that they are still. They are still writing. And now for the news to say that you are going to write again, it just does a lot to their psyche.
Mr. Ntantala, it must be very difficult for learners. Just psychologically, they must be exhausted now having to rewrite again. But like I said, isn't it better to do that quickly, to make the decision quickly, like the department has, then let an investigation drag out and then there's a possible rewrite months down the line?
Well, I have to agree with my colleague from SADTU here to say the level of frustration and fatigue on the part of the learners leaves much to be desired. One question that must be asked is whether these learners are now in the right frame of mind to rewrite the very same subjects that they went through, and considering that perhaps a majority of them could have nothing to do with the leaked papers. So it's quite a critical issue. And this is the reason why we have said in our suggestions before that part of the things that can be done is to look at what comes out of the marking process. because that is what has been done in the past when there has been irregularities. And then on the basis of what comes out from the marking process, then you can determine which route you want to take, other than painting everybody with the same brush.
Yeah, but
so we feel there
is a possibility that everyone will have to rewrite. There's still that possibility. You are a teachers' union. You say you care about learners, though. But has anyone consulted with the learners, Mr. Ntantala?
Yeah, those are the processes that NAPTOSA is currently engaged in. Remember, it's learners' organizations, it's parents' organizations, and we still have to reach out to those parties, including the Department of Basic Education itself. And by all possibilities, if Umalusi is available to come to the party, we are ready to engage and try to find one another so that we come up with an amicable decision that's going to at least satisfy a vast number of entities that are affected by this decision. You see, one of the other critical issues here is the tendency to want to disregard the entities that we have put up to deal with particular issues. And what boggles the mind is that the National Irregularities Committee was not able to conclusively deal with this matter and give us a proper recommendation in this regard.
All right, we'll speak to the Department of Basic Education in a short while. Let me end with you, Ms. Cembi. Are you convinced that you will win in court if the department can go and say, well, the fact is we don't know how widespread this leak was. Let's get a rewrite done very, very quickly?
We hope so. We are going there with a positive mind because we feel that what we are doing is for the interest of thousands of learners who are in limbo at the moment, who are anxious about their futures.
All right, thank you very much. SADTU spokesperson Nomusa Cembi and NAPTOSA President Nkosiphendule Ntantala. We'll take a short break. We'll pick up with the department after the break. We're also hoping to bring you the closing ceremony. The African Union holding an extraordinary summit this weekend. Lots of very important issues, of course, when it comes to security on the table, including what's happening in Ethiopia. And the free trade agreement, when's it going to become a reality? Stay with us.